What's going on, guys? Coach Derek here, and today we're going to be going over how to string the Mark IIF. Okay, so as you can see, I already strung this one up just because I really wanted to show you guys what the pattern was and go through each knot individually. I know I've made a video about this before, however, with some feedback, I am going to attempt to make this a little bit easier to follow for you guys. So, with that being said, let's get right into it. The way you want to string this for a face-off guy is we're starting with a 9-diamond top string, and then going to the sidewall, we're going to have a tie-off, skip 2, knotted interlock, skip 2, knotted interlock, skip 2, knotted interlock, and then we're going to skip 1 and do a modified SI, as I like to call it. We're going to do 4 modified SIs, not skipping any sidewall holes. And then we're going to skip 3 interlock, skip 3 interlock, and then on the last hole, we are going to tie off. With that being said, let me show you exactly how we can get these knots strung into the head. All right, so here's the head that we're going to be stringing up, nice black 2F. Gonna be stringing this up from my buddy Griff, shout out Griff. We're gonna start with the top string on this, okay? I got my sidewall here. With this, I'm gonna start by making a knot on one of the sides of the sidewall, and that's just so that it doesn't slip out when we're stringing the top string. Okay, so when we fold over the top of the mesh, make sure that the kind of the textured side of the mesh is on the side that's gonna be facing the ball, kind of like this, okay? Now, we want to make sure it's 9-diamond top string. So each of these holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That means it's going to be a 9-diamond top string. So how we're going to start, we're going to loop off this first mesh hole. So we're going to start at the very top hole on the stick, and then we're going to go through the first mesh hole. All right, pull that all the way through, and then we're going to go back in the sidewall hole, and when we go back in, we're going to go actually above where we started, okay? And that's going to create, when you finish that, it should look something like this. I think you guys can see that. Okay, next, we're going to go straight in through the first top sidewall hole. All right, we're going straight in through there. And then we're gonna go back up through the next mesh hole, okay? So we're going back up through the next mesh hole, all right? And now it's gonna look something like this. We wanna make sure that this loop stays out a little bit, and so we're going back through here. Obviously, we don't wanna get the mesh all tangled up in this. Stringing backwards is hard, all right? And then we're going back up and around that initial loophole, okay? And we're creating what is called an interlock, all right? So on the top sidewall, this is what it's gonna look like. It's called an interlock. Now, when you do the top string, you actually wanna do a double interlock, and to accomplish that, we're next gonna go through the mesh, all right? We're going through that mesh right there, and then we're gonna come back out through the sidewall, top sidewall hole, okay? And then we're gonna come down through this loop right here that we created, okay? Now, I know that was hard to follow, so the next one, I'm gonna film it from a different angle, and hopefully we can get this dialed in. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys from this angle. Hopefully you guys can see a little bit better, but we're gonna have our mesh like so. All right, let's see if we can focus in a little bit better. All right, we are going to then skip a mesh hole here, skip this sidewall hole, and then we're going to the next sidewall hole. So we're gonna wanna go straight through there, okay? And you see how it creates that loop? Then we're going up through the mesh and the loop at the same time there, okay? After you do that, you want to tighten it, and it should create a knot like so. So after we get there, we are then going to take our sidewall, go in through the mesh, all right? where it's going to create another loop here. You guys see that? And then we're going out through the sidewall. And then we're going down through that. And that is going to create our double interlock for our top string. Now I like to make sure that it's tight. The top string is kind of the foundation for the entire head. So you do want to make sure that you get this as tight as possible. All right. And then we just repeat for the next two. So skip a mesh hole, going through the next top sidewall hole, get that sucker tight, go in through the mesh, have that loop here, and then we're going through the top sidewall hole. All right, making sure everything is tight, and then back through the sidewall. And we're gonna finish it off here. One more. Bang. First interlock done. Then we go through the sidewall. Or no, go through the mesh, excuse me. Go through the mesh, then we go through the sidewall, and then we come out here, and we tie off. Right there, like so. So when we tie off, we're going through that very first sidewall top string, or hole, right here. Try to get this to focus a little bit better. All right, so we're going through that very first top part. Some people like to go on like the next couple, but for these face-off heads, I like to go through the top, and that leaves us room to work with on the sidewall. Okay, just loop it through twice, and then you're gonna want a double knot. So just make a loop and then go through it twice. And that's your top sidewall. Cool, so next we are gonna do the sidewall. Now we're gonna start out, oh, I should actually say this. Now, we do not wanna skip any mesh holes. That's a big no-no. Do not skip any mesh holes. We wanna go through that very next sidewall hole, okay? And then we're going up through the mesh hole, right? So we're going up through this mesh hole here. And then we're doing the same exact thing again. So we're gonna go in and up again. And this is gonna create our loop for the beginning of our sidewall. Okay, we're gonna skip two. So 1, 2, and we're gonna go in the third sidewall hole, all right? From here, we're also gonna go up through the mesh, all right? And it's gonna look something like this. You guys see that? Now, where this mesh is, or where this sidewall is on the outside, we're gonna make sure there's a little bit of a loop there, okay? Next, we're gonna take our sidewall and go actually down on the outside. Sorry, my big hand, fat hand is in the way. We're gonna go down from the outside, and we're actually gonna just pull this all the way through. And when we pull it all the way through, it's gonna create a knot. All right, so it should be something like that. So once again, we're gonna skip two. This is a knotted interlock. We're doing a knotted interlock. We're gonna skip two sidewall holes. The black is actually really hard to see. 1, 2. On the third one, we're going in through the sidewall. We're going up through the mesh. We have that loop right there, perfect. We have that loop right there. We're going down, right here, down through the loop, okay, to create, where'd it go? Oh, here we go. To create the knot. And we do want to try to make these as tight as possible because this sets up the channel and how your stick's gonna throw. Okay, so next, 1, 2, and then on the third one, we're going up through the mesh, down through the sidewall, and then we're pulling that tight. Once we pull it tight, we should have our third knotted interlock. So you see there, we got 3 knotted interlocks. That would be wonderful. We got the tie off, skip 2, knotted interlock, skip 2, knotted interlock, skip 2, knotted interlock. And don't forget, at any point in time, if you need to pause the video and go back and check it out. Okay, so next we're going to start getting into the modified SIs for this head. I call them modified SIs because it's just an SI, but we're going through the sidewall a little bit differently. So for this next knot, we're going to go down through the mesh, okay? So we're going down through the mesh, all right? Just like that. So we went down through the mesh. Next, we're going to go from the outside of the head in, right? We're going in through skip 2. On the third one, we're going in through the sidewall. All right, you can pull that all the way. And then this is where it gets hard to like show you guys, but we're going actually back up to this second sidewall and going up through here. Okay, so we went down in through the sidewall, then we're going back out. Make sure it's nice and tight, and then we're going back up through the mesh. Okay, and that is going to create our first modified SI. So let's try to do this again, because we're going to do this 4 times. Okay, so we're going down through the mesh here, down through the mesh. Okay, next we are going to skip 1 sidewall hole, okay, because we want to get these close together. Right here, we're going to skip 1 sidewall hole. We're going to go in through the next one, pull that all the way. Then we're going to go back out through the sidewall hole we skipped. All right, pull that nice and tight, and then we're going up through the mesh. All right, we got 2 more times for you guys to follow this, okay? So if you need to pause it or slow it down, you can do so. Don't rush it. It takes time to get used to these things. Okay, now we're going down through the mesh. All right, so the very next mesh hole, we went down. We are then going in, trying to angle this so you guys can see. Then we're going in, 1, 2. Skip a sidewall hole, going in through the second sidewall hole, okay? Then we're going out. We are coming back out through that sidewall hole that we skipped right here. We are pulling that tight. And then how it's like so, we're just coming back up through the mesh. Bang. Now we got our third modified SI. And then the 4th one will be the last one to kind of build the pocket. Okay, so we went down through the mesh, down through the mesh with the sidewall. We are going to skip 1. So 1 sidewall, skip the next sidewall, go in through the sidewall. Then we're coming back out right here, creating that loop there, pulling tight, and then from here, we are going up right here. See the mesh hole, the one we went in? We're going up through that mesh hole, and now we have our 4th modified SI. Now the rest of the head is super simple. We're gonna skip 3. So 1, 2, 3, go in that 4th sidewall hole. Then all we're doing is going up through the mesh, and there's a little bit of a loop right here. So we're just, instead of going down through the top like we did with the knots, we're actually just gonna go straight through here, and that's gonna create an interlock. Okay, one more time. The last knot, we're gonna skip 3 sidewall holes, 1, 2, 3. Then we're gonna go down through the 4th. All right. Then we're going up through the next mesh hole. And this should have a little loop there. And then we're going straight down through that loop. And that's gonna create our last interlock. Now for the tie off, I actually like to go through the very next mesh hole, not the next 9 diamond row, the very next mesh hole. I like to go down through that, okay? And then you're going from the inside of the head to the outside here. Pull that nice and tight, and then we are just going to knot this off. Bang. And then now we have our sidewall completed. And that is how you string a String King Mark IIF. I went ahead and finished up the other sidewall. It's the exact same as the side I just showed you, so you just need to follow that for the other side as well. Remember, it's a loop, skip 2, knotted interlock, skip 2, knotted interlock, skip 2, knotted interlock, skip 1, modified SI, and then modified SI, modified SI, modified SI, skip 3, interlock, skip 3, interlock, and then tie off. So with that being said, if you guys have any questions or concerns, struggling with this at all, feel free to drop it down in the comments below, or just go over to Instagram and shoot me a DM, show me what you're doing, and I'll do my best to help you. I really hope that this video was easier to follow than the last one I made. If not, guess what? There's gonna be a part 3 coming out. Either way, if you guys wanna see more content like this, make sure you guys hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.